It is happening. The inflation rate is expected to rise once again, everybody. And now the Federal Reserve is planning to take big action to address this major issue. With millions of people worried about with Congress stepping in for a little extra relief, people don't know if they're going to receive stimulus payments in 2023. But in this video, I'll explain to you the most important stimulus check information that you have to know. Because remember folks, if President Biden does send out the fourth stimulus check in time, many people will get the relief that they so desperately need. And that would definitely be a great thing. So I hope that President Biden can keep his promise to the American people and send out stimulus payments by 2024. Do you think he will? Tell me in the comments. Well, high inflation and the state of the economy remain at the top of the list of America's top concern. A new poll showed that at least 60% of respondents said they have a great deal about concern and inflation in the economy. The percentage increased by 2 points for both categories from a poll taken last year. The Fed is already raising its key interest rate by 0.25 percentage points, underscoring the central bank's commitment to fighting inflation, even if that heightens the financial pressure on the country's banks. Now folks, listen to this. As recently as 2 weeks ago, the Fed appeared set for a steeper rate hike and prepared to keep them elevated for longer, but a startling deposit run at Silicon Valley Bank and a closure of two smaller banks and a takeover of two other banks has created this panic in the financial system. Many economists, as well as the Fed, noted the bank's newfound caution following the turmoil would likely drag on the economy. The high cost of living is causing financial headaches for millions of people. That is why many states and cities have approved new relief. There is a $5 million fund from which Americans could get much needed $500 stimulus checks. Everybody, listen up. It's important now. This is happening in the state of Missouri, specifically in St. Louis, and the checks are directed at families with low income. The mayor, who was one of the most people affected by this crisis, said that the people in the city and state have already a plan to send cash to hundreds of families, if not thousands, who are going through a tough time. The bill was presented and is calling for the state to spend $5 million in funds that are coming from the federal Cross's stimulus package. They are urging the federal government to agree on sending $500 monthly payments to local families for the next year and a half. This idea is for this program to begin as soon as possible, and its approval will go into 2024. Now, the program is not approved yet, but a green light would mean that eligible people will be with low income, who are either parents or guardians of children in public city schools, and it's a great chance for the city of St. Louis to offer support for working families and their children. The Nebraska governor has also made some school aid and tax cut plans to keep on rolling this week, as lawmakers give a strong thumbs up to a package of property tax changes worth more than $3 billion over the next 6 years. The bill introduced by the senator would increase Nebraska's 2 property tax credit program, cap school property tax growth, and eliminate almost all community college property tax. The package represents the second piece of Governor Pillen's plan to advance this bill. The first piece would cut the state's top income tax rate by 1/3 and make other income tax changes possible. The governor said the property tax package would provide substantial property tax relief for everyday Nebraskans. And last August in the state of Maine, a new law took effect aimed at giving relief to the homeowners who have watched inflation and demand drive up their property values and thus their taxes.
For a bad batch of water. The system then was, paused, distributing more water into the system in an effort to have a better chemistry or a better jar test of what they were producing. And so that meant that the residents were draining what was left at that point in the clear wells. This is happening, at a time where we have support with the state there, at the water treatment facility. We welcome their support with open arms. Because we believe that our residents are worthy.
There is a new monthly eligible benefit raise. Lawmakers have agreed to provide a boost to beneficiaries. This might be worth up to $200 of financial aid. But some Americans in several states may not be eligible to receive this stimulus check. Gas prices are down, inflation is dropping very high, and the cost of food is going up. The price of food in America, everybody, rose more in the past year than has at any time since 1979. Inflation has driven up supermarket bills so much that in some cases, it's more economical to dine in a restaurant than it is to shop and cook. Grocery store prices have increased more steeply because they're more directly impacted by rising food costs and supply chain issues. While the restaurants, the cost of ingredients is only a small part of the bill. Spending on food stamps has increased by $53 billion and 90% increase in the 2 crisis years. By comparison, that's how much the entire program cost in 2009 during the recession. spending on the SNAP program grew from 88% for an estimated $60 billion in 2019 to $113 billion in 2021. Spending on the SNAP program had previously peaked at $80 billion in 2013 before declining for the next 6 years. And the average monthly benefit per person increased 68% from $130 per person to $217 per person. That's from 2019 to 2021. The federal program helps supplemental the food budget of people who qualify. Emergency orders are helping some states collect more federal help. In the state of Virginia, another round of crisis benefits will be released today. Officials have said that a one-time payment for summer of $391 per eligible student will be uploaded retroactively. The Delaware Division of Social Services will also issue emergency benefits for August to eligible households as part of the state's ongoing response to the crisis. In the state of Virginia, another round of crisis stimulus checks, everybody, are going to help many people. The Delaware Division of Social Services will also issue emergency benefits for August to eligible households as part of the state's ongoing response to the crisis. And all households with open SNAP cases will receive at least $95 in emergency food benefits. Now, recently, the U.S. Energy Secretary faced criticism after she said Americans being crushed by the weight of inflation can lower their energy costs by installing solar panels at a 30% discount under the Inflation Reduction Act. During an interview this week, Jennifer Granholm said the Democrats' new climate and healthcare bill is going to provide thousands of dollars in tax rebates for lower and middle class families.
Of a full effort to correct this challenge.
Mr. Mayor, I didn't mean to interrupt, but our time's limited. Every Mississippian knows, and I'm one of them, there have been problems with the water in Jackson for decades. The Mississippi Free Press reports staffing issues there have been chronic and severe. The EPA says there's no evidence the city made efforts to recruit and train workers. Why not?
Well, I don't believe that is fully true. In fact, we've even gone as far as taking the EPA's advice itself. Efforts to, work with the Rural Water Association, efforts to bring in the mutual aid agreement, to bring the support of other cities that exchange those water professionals. We have 10 people that are training to be Class A water operators, which our system requires as we speak. It is not as simple of an equation to bring people in, because if you have a college degree, it takes 2 years to become a Class A operator. If you are without a college degree, it takes 6 years to be a Class A operator. So we've even looked at measures of how we attract retired employees to come back under the hourly rate that does not threaten their retirement. We've tried to contract, and in fact, we do have some contract employees that don't clock in, and so it doesn't register the full number of water professionals that we have there. We're trying to look at a third-party operations firm, right? And, there are some complications in terms of the negotiation right now that I do not want to get into.
I get you. It's just all such an awful look, Mr. Mayor. Our state is